You're listening to Truth on Tap with host Kevin Kirsten.
Yeah, there it goes again. It's the big show, Caps on Tap, daughter show of Truth on Tap. Some say that. Yep, we do. It's the big show, Caps on Tap.
Last week I had to travel to San Jose.
This is my friend that stayed in a haunted hotel. If she wanted to really be scared, she would have played the Washington Capitals tonight. Yeah. You see that brawl? My God. Yeah. It's pretty good. Pretty good. You're listening to Caps on Tap. Waiting for my co-host to call in here tonight. I told him we were going to run a bit of a dry run, but we're just jumping right into it. I'm rather unpredictable when it comes to that kind of stuff. And I'll just start a show. So let's keep an eye out here just for him to call in. He's going to help me host the show. Yeah, the Capitals easily, it would so appear, dispatching the Edmonton Oilers tonight. I liked it. I liked what I saw, and there were, of course, some things I didn't like. I mean, isn't there always something? If there's no room for improvement, well, you're a perfect team. And are we a perfect team? I don't think so. Some of the play that I saw looked a little bit lackluster. Some of the play that I saw looked a little bit wimpy. There's got to be a time when even an excellent captain drops his gloves, does there not? Yeah, there's got to be a time. There's got to come a time where that happens. Waiting for... There we go. Okay, who am I talking to? Hello? Why am I not hearing you? Let me try to call him.
Hey, Cat fans, you've reached the number of Christian Levis. He can't come to the phone because he's in the middle of a huge Capitals party.
Christian, are you there? Okay. Christian, call in again, man. I'm on the lookout for you now. Remember, Google Voice wants 2 or 3 calls before it realizes you're serious. I don't know why, but that's the best I can get right now. It's the best I can do. So please do. Yeah. You're listening to Caps on Tap. This is the post-game show. It is live. You can call in 910-665-9464. This is about the fans. It comes from a fan perspective. This show not coming from experts that have sponsors to worry about. On this motherfucking show, we bring the noise. We tell it how it is. We're not cutting any corners, and we're not trying to make somebody look good that doesn't look good. Combined, I'd say Christian and I together have a good 75 years of experience watching the Caps, and that's worth something. That brings some expertise to the table, don't you think? Yeah, there is no Caps college, is there? No. Even if you played for him before, let's say you played 5 years for the Caps, you think that makes you more of an expert? If you played your last 15 years of your career with Calgary, maybe you don't know anything about the Caps except what happened 1982 to 1987, So you decide who's making more sense. Chris, I'm sorry, I was thinking of Chris because that's his brother. Let's see, Christian and Stefan. Stefan was the other guy I was thinking of. There we go. You're on Truth on Tap. Who's this?
Hey, this is Chris Levesque, Kevin.
Chris, my co-host, is here. We're on the air, brother. I jumped on early because I got all excited.
Awesome. Good win tonight.
Yeah, instead of doing a test run tonight, you and I are going live. Maybe, just maybe, the DSL thing won't kick you off. Maybe whatever the problem was a few days ago with you staying on with me will be gone, and we can host a damn show here. What do you think?
It sounds like a winner to me.
Well, let's give this a shot then. Excellent win tonight. Capitals over the Oilers, 4-2. Might have let a bit of a softie in there at the end, but we could debate that. What do you think about everything you saw tonight? Give us a rundown on it.
Our play looked good. Our top lines looked pretty good tonight. I can't complain. It wasn't a pretty win, but usually when you're looking to win a game after a losing streak, it's not going to be pretty, but I will take it.
Yes, sir. I'm there with you on that. I saw the league's best power play come back to life tonight, like they were in the days of old, well, at least a year ago, and a year before that. Beautiful tic-tac-toe. We need a lot more of it. Here's what I've been seeing over the past 3 or 4 games. I like to do this. I like to take like 7 games and start messing with the time scale. Like I'll compress them. Like I'll do a highlight reel in my head, or I'll extend them. I'll stretch them way out to look at the details. Well, I compressed them. And I saw this. I saw Capitals doing something they don't normally do, that is pass to the front of the net, although we usually don't have anybody there since Knuble left. And they'll pass to the front of the net and get a tap. And they're doing that lately. Are you still with me? Did it cut him off again? Oh, this is going to drive me batty. This is going to drive me insane. Let's see if the show is still transmitting. It is. So it's not the show's fault this time. I can't blame the show. I've got to blame Google Voice, because now I know it's not the show's fault, and I know it's not DSL's fault. So, yeah, Christian, I got to blame Google Voice for I can't hear you, man. I'm just going to leave this page open. Maybe that'll keep me connected to you next time you call. Yeah. Anyway, that's what you saw with the Caps tonight. You saw good movement. You saw good looks. Christian, do you prefer to go by Christian or Chris?
Chris. Call me Chris.
Chris, okay. Google Voice is doing its thing again, man. I don't know why, but I'm leaving this page up. I'm not changing to any pages, so it'll know I'm on a call, so hopefully it won't drop you. Are you on your cell phone tonight?
Yeah, I got the cell phone up. Hopefully it's going to do pretty good tonight.
I hope so, man. I hope so. I already dropped you once. I'm not leaving this page tonight. I have some statistics pages up and stuff, but I'm afraid that if I start surfing the web and looking at stuff, it might kick you off or something. I don't know what's going on with Google Voice. So, but go ahead, man. I was talking about how over the last few games I had seen a lot of tic-tac-toe going on, but I'd also seen a lot of something we don't typically see on the Caps, and that is passing to the front of the net. Have you noticed an increase in that, and why don't we have somebody with their ass planted in the goalie's face more often?
Exactly. I was talking about that the other night with my brother, Stefan. We need that big body up front that can make things happen, that can move people around, that can get that puck in the net, change directions. Somebody with the Flyers a long time ago, back in the late 80s, early 90s, Tim Kerr, that's how he got most of his goals for the Philadelphia Flyers. If we had a big-bodied player like that, it could be amazing stuff. But I like the tic-tac passing tonight. I especially like the Ward goal on the power play. That was awesome.
Did you see how he reacted when he scored that goal?
No, I stepped away from the television and jumped up and down, but no, I didn't see it.
Well, good. That's the kind of spirit a Caps fan should have. I watched it, though, and I thought, see, some people won't read into this, but I do, because the same thing happened when Brouwer scored. They didn't celebrate. They looked very deflated, and maybe that's just a result of coming off a couple losses, but I'm starting to wonder, what do you think might have caused that? Didn't celebrate, even though they had just taken the lead 2-1 off Wardo's goal. No celebration with Brouwer going to, I think Brouwer scored the third goal, or was it the fourth goal for him? I can't remember.
Let's see, I think that might have been the third goal. Well, had the first goal. Yeah. I think Brouwer might have been the third or fourth goal, because I know he got the goal in there as well. But I noticed that too with Brouwer. No celebrations. I don't know what was going on there. Maybe it's the thing they have that went back to the last game after that interview after the game that Brouwer had, that they felt that the talent is there. Maybe they're lacking. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's that mentality that let's act like we've been there. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
That could be it. I mean, I tend to read things into that because I'm looking for what's going on with the team psychologically as well as physically. And when I saw no celebration, I thought, that's that deflated look. That's the look of a goal scorer who scores a goal when you're down 4-0 and now it's 4-1. Where they don't celebrate, they're like, okay, so what, I scored, we're still not going to win. That kind of feeling. But Wardo had just put us in front, and Brower was nailing the coffin closed. OV's always going to celebrate. You can't hold that man down. And so is Light.
Yeah.
But these two guys had me concerned. I'm going, why weren't they celebrating? Were they just so deflated over how we started this season that it didn't feel great? It felt like to them, damn it, this is what we should have been doing the whole time. And if that's how it felt to them, well, then they're not going to have a huge reaction. I don't know. What else did you see that you liked, man? What else did you see that looked like it had improved, would you say?
A little toughness coming back. I enjoy having some toughness on the ice. I like some finesse, but I like toughness at the same time too. That was a plus for me. I'm very satisfied with tonight's win. I think now we have a pretty decent shot of going up, maybe getting at 500 by the end of the week. Who knows?
Absolutely.
We'll keep our fingers crossed. Crossed tonight. I was also pleased with Nick Backstrom's game tonight. 3 assists tonight, all in the second period. Good job on his part.
Yep. Nicky always comes to play. He's one of my silent heroes. You know, not real flashy, but he always brings it, doesn't he? He's always got. What's going on with Mojo? You know, we talked last show about Mojo having not been skating for one thing, not taking his speed. Now he's showing it once or twice per game. Last game he showed a bunch of desperation. It gave me the vibe that he had been threatened to be traded or something like that. But then this game I saw an on and off, fumble, good play with him. And then he used his speed like once or twice. So are we still not... Are we out of the loop on Mojo? Is he nursing a small injury, or do you know what's going on?
I still think he may be hiding something. I'm looking at something right now. 18 minutes of ice time tonight. I don't know. I know early in the game, first period, he fumbled a pass in our own zone that could have been disastrous, but we recovered later on. But I don't know. He really didn't show me too much of anything tonight. He was. He was MIA. He was missing in action tonight. So I don't know. It's hard for me to have an opinion of him tonight. I know he was a -1. He had 1 assist tonight, but he was a non-factor tonight. I think he possibly is hurting something though. How long do we sign him for? Was it a year or 2 years?
I thought it was a 2-year. I thought it was a 2-year extension. So
it's still not sitting well with me that he's up there in the first line. I don't know what to make of that. I don't know. Maybe Oates is still doing that. A tryout with him on the first line. See how it looks. Give him a couple more games, and if not, then we're going to drop him in the lineup.
Well, who would you like to see possibly take his place?
Erat. I would like to see Erat in there. I think Erat brings a lot to the table. Erat's got more experience. He's been in the trenches before. I'd like to see him up there. He's a top 6 line player in the league. Give him a shot. Why not? Year before, we had Troy Brower up there for a little bit. Maybe move him back up there. But right now, maybe Erat right now. I'm still not feeling the mojo up there.
Yeah. Here go our puns again. Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, everybody listening, these are 2 armed forces veterans bringing you this show. One a 20-year Army veteran, one a 4-year Air Force veteran. Do you miss the military at all, Chris?
Being retired for 2.5 years, yes. Every stinking day I do. I loved it. If I could do it all over again, I would. I truly was probably the best 20 years of my life.
Yeah. I spent 4 years in, and believe it or not, I feel the same way. I feel like that 4 years was the right amount of time. I don't think 5 would have been right, and I don't think 3 would have been right. 4 felt right. I wanted to get in, get my feet wet, be on the lookout, serve my time. But when it came time to get out, and I got out on a medical honorable for my right knee that was blown up, I said, this is right. I could stay in. I could push him and stay in, the medical review board. And, everybody told me that. Or I could go ahead and get out. And I just went ahead and got out. It was the right amount of time. I don't really miss it. I miss some of the people. I miss some of the stability that it brought, but I don't miss the lifestyle. To me, it was too strict. But that's they've been honoring military people at Caps games, man. They need to keep doing that stuff. Every game, they should have somebody from the military out there, I think.
Oh, yeah, big fan of that.
Yeah. What do you think about, is there any, people retire all the time, or is there any chance you think you might go back in?
Nah, I think I'm done. I'll be 43 next month. I think I'm done. I've got arthritis in my knees right now. I did a lot of banging around early on in my career, doing all the airborne stuff, jumping out of a perfectly good airplane, 12-mile ruck marches in the middle of the night. Fort Bragg really did a lot to my knees, and then once I got down to Fort Stewart, it was a recovery time there as a platoon sergeant, and watching all the 18 and 19-year-olds run circles around me, that's when I decided to retire. But if I could, I would, believe it or not, I would. It just, I missed the camaraderie. The esprit de corps was there. The friendships you make. You'll never, ever meet those folks again. The places you go, the things you see, the experiences you have in your life are just something else words cannot describe. And then being able to do what I had to do and serve my country was phenomenal. My father did it with the Navy, Vietnam War vet. Both my grandfathers did it in World War II, serving their countries. My mother's dad was Italian, so he was on the other side. And then my father's father, being Canadian, coming over to the United States and doing it was just something else. So, it's in the blood. I had to do it.
Gotcha. Yeah, I had it in my family too, and just had to do it. It's funny because I didn't get to do anything with skydiving until I got out of the Air Force. I went and paid to go and did accelerated free fall, where you jump out at like 12,500 feet, open your chute around 5,000 feet, and that was a lot of fun. I went twice. I actually went a third time, but I had been shoved out of the plane on the second time, and I'll name names. The dude's name is Larry at Skydive Suffolk. Watch out for him. He will shove you out of an airplane. Yeah, shoved me out because I screwed up on my exit routine. So I said, can I do it over again? He smiled at me and shoved me out of the plane. And I said, no, that doesn't work for me. I did about 6 backflips, caught my bearings, got myself straight. I couldn't even tell what I was doing. I had to close my eyes and remember, badminton birdie, pelvis to the ground, and do that so that I was falling correctly. I was not happy when I got on the ground. And then the third one, I went, got in the plane, found out Larry was going to be one of my instructors, and asked them at about 4,000 feet to go ahead and land the plane that I wasn't feeling good. And I didn't go back after that. So, I got to trust who I'm jumping out of a plane with, man. I'm sure you felt that, too, when you were in.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And speaking of trust, are we seeing enough trust on the first line of this team? I think the first line has it, but OV and Backy are trying to make up for Mojo. What's going on there? And then you got the third liners. Here's the thing. You know that of my backbone players, I've got 4 backbone players, and I think you disagree with this list. I want to hear what your list is, but my list is Ovechkin, Nicky Backstrom, Jason Chimera, and then Brooksy would be there, but the injury kind of took him out of the running for me. So Eric Fair. Those are my 4 players, and then I have Holtby in at the anchor. And somebody had suggested, why don't you have Holtby in? Because I'm only going to pick 5 or 6 backbone players. I don't think you can have more than that. These are the players to which all other things are connected. And a lot of people question my Eric Fair choice, and it's funny because was it Puck Daddy today, or was it Bleacher Report? Bleacher Report just put out an article today that said why Fair is Capital's most underrated player. I've been there, man. I've been there. I see what's going on with him. Some people say he's under development. I see him as a sniper. When he goes into the lane, you don't know what's going to happen there.
Oh yeah, just like the Winter Classic. That game he had that night was phenomenal. I like Ovechkin. Big on Backstrom. I believe it or not, I'm a huge Mike Green fan. I think he plays lights out. Barring he had those injuries a couple years ago, and before that, though, he was lights out. And I think now, or last year, he was finally rounding into that form of a complete defenseman that we needed, and I think he's truly doing that right now. Brooks, Brooks last year's injury, that was the first time he was injured in his career, and that took a lot out of him. Those four, like Eric Fair, too. Eric Fair has done a lot for the team, and then, we got lucky to bring him back, so I was pretty excited about that. But I think those 5 players right there, right now, are in my top 5.
Yeah, I can't blame you at all. This is something we'll bat back and forth as the season goes on. Now, for whatever reason, I don't know why I've done this. I never did it before in the 35, 40 years I've been watching them. I didn't pick backbone players, but I felt like, well, I'm starting a radio show this year. I better go ahead and pick my core because they're going to deserve more scrutiny if things go wrong, and they're going to deserve more credit if things go right because nobody can do anything without them. So I tend to call that my little backbone group. Now, Brooksy can definitely make it back in there, and I see him as an important player, but I'm not so sure he's over his injury. And for my backbone group, it takes a while to get on, and it takes a while for me to kick him off. So I realize this is just one guy's opinion, but it's my thing, and you should keep yours, keep them there. And we'll just compare these as we go throughout the season. Who's getting kicked off of our backbone players? Who's getting brought on? Who has earned it? People like Wardo, you say, well, you bring Chimera on, you bring Fair on, why not Wardo? There's only one thing with Wardo, only one thing that's keeping him off. He's a busy guy. He's a good player, but he's always moving so much that it causes him to mess up and to forget about the game. He stays so busy. He's like one of those kids where before you put them on the ground, their legs are already going. That's Wardo. Always grinding, always grinding. And I think he's so focused on staying busy that he forgets where to pass the puck or what to do with it sometimes. I love his effort, love it, and I wish every Capital would duplicate his effort, yet, he tends to knock himself off of the play sometimes. I just see he's this real busy guy. Wherever he is, he's fighting this fight, and I'm going, calm down, Wardo. Look, there's a guy open on the other side, man. So he might get there to my core players, but look at this third line, man. They have been shocking people with their play. I mean,
Chimera looked great tonight. Didn't Chimera look great tonight, I thought?
Absolutely.
He had that questionable, he had the boarding call. But you know what, though? I liked it. It shows that we're not going to get run over tonight. I liked it. Right. He was in the mix. Fair looked good. Wardo looked good tonight. I am truly impressed with that third line tonight. Well, the last couple of games. I can't talk. If
only the first line could duplicate that effort, They got their shit together on the third line. It's like, to me, they come across as outlaws. Like, hey, we don't play like the rest of the team. We do it our way. That's the impression I get. And Jason Chimera, he always shows up to play. I mean, he is always grinding. That's what I love about that guy. Compare him to a Mojo. Jason Chimera will use his speed every time. Mojo will not. And I love it. And then, like you said, Chimera, he gets a bloody nose tonight. He's looking for some payback. He's a great white out there in the shallow waters. So he hits a guy. He doesn't push him hard. It wasn't a hard push, but it was enough to be called boarding. And he was saying, you know what, we punch back. Now, for some reason tonight, why didn't Ovechkin drop the gloves? Do you think a superstar team captain should drop the gloves once in a while to make a point? Or is it too much
every now and then? Every now and then to make a point. Granted, he's not a Sidney Crosby or back in the 80s Wayne Gretzky, when Wayne Gretzky always was surrounded by his goon squad, and I like that. But I think every once in a while Ovechkin, he's a tough competitor. He's a beast out there, and I think why not? It shows that he can't be pushed around, and the rest of the team cannot be pushed around. As long as it warrants it out there, then why not?
What did you think about tonight's scrum? I mean, did you think everything went well? Should he have dropped the gloves tonight? Was it enough, or was he just... See, sometimes I think Ovechkin is so smart that he realizes when they're trying to start a fight because they're losing.
Yeah.
Remember when he almost got in the fight? You'll remember the player's name. He dropped his helmet. He dropped his gloves. He was ready to fight. I'm thinking the guy's first name was Jay. For some reason, it's not coming to me. But somebody came off the bench and fought for Ovechkin. Do you remember that last year?
Oh, yeah.
Who came off the bench?
It wasn't Beagle, was it?
It might have been Beagle. No, I don't think... But it was somebody they call up from Hershey. I can't think of who it was. He came off the bench and made a beeline for this guy. Ovi, they had both... I don't think it was Steve Downey. They had both just gone to the box. And when they came out... the other guy was still talking crap, and Ovi said, fine, off with the helmet, off with the gloves. He was ready to scrap. And I think at that point, in OV's mind, he's thinking, okay, they're not doing this because they're losing. This guy really has a problem with me. And you know what? I don't like him so much either. Maybe it's time for me to fight. So he did. He dropped the gloves. And then off of the bench comes this guy. For some reason, I cannot remember who it was. But off the bench comes this guy. He gets like a 5-game suspension for leaving the bench to get in on a brawl. And, it was worth it to him, and I think it was worth it to the team. You want to protect your star players, but yeah, OV needs to be left alone to fight once in a while. Let him establish his manhood out there, I mean, he does it with checks already. I give him that. I love the guy. I think he's beyond any other player in the league as far as quality of total playership he brings to the game. And when people say Crosby is a better player than OV, I immediately call them into question and say, look up Crosby's hits real quick and look up Ovechkin's. And then define complete hockey player and come back to me,
Yeah.
What do you think about that? When you compare Ovechkin to Crosby, what do you see there?
Well, Crosby is the playmaker. Ovechkin is more of the sniper shooter type. I know when you get into conversations with a lot of folks will say, "Oh no, Crosby is a way better player." Yeah, Grant. Yeah, he's got a Stanley Cup. Okay, Ovechkin's got 3 MVPs, but Ovechkin is a totally different player from Crosby. Ovechkin every night will bring in the physical game to the ice. Crosby won't. Crosby is more of a player that will sit back, wait for the play. He will make the play happen. Ovechkin will jump into the play, wait for it sometimes to make it happen, and then he'll shoot the puck, or he's just going to throw his body around. 2 totally different players, but I love Ovechkin's game. I'm sorry, I love the physicality of it. I love that he can come in there, game in and game out, and throw the body around. I got to love that.
Yeah. I love it too, and I love that he tries to make up for what he perceives to be his own mistakes with extra hits. He's like, I'm not leaving this ice tonight without having spent something. And if he's making bad passes or not making his shots, and he will shoot. And I hate it when people say, oh, he's a puck hog. He's not a puck hog. He's doing what the GM and the coach are telling him to do, and what they're telling him to do is, hey, you got a pretty badass gun on you. We'd like you to use it pretty often. And OV is saying, yes, sir, I will. If they told him to pass more, he'd pass more. So I don't want to hear that, Yeah, that's his job. I mean, he's so good at it.
Mm-hmm.
And he brings that body, like you said. I love that about him.
Oh, yeah, he's like that bull going through the to the China store, right?
That's right.
I love it. Love every aspect of his game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, people do call him a puck hog, but that's what they pay him to do, shoot the puck. That's all we want. We brought in Nicholas Backstrom to feed him the puck. We've got our second-line center and Grabo in there. That's their job. It's give it to Ovechkin. Ovechkin's job is to shoot the puck and throw the body. I'll take that any day of the week.
Me too. Beautiful play by him. As far as a rounded player goes, I don't think you find a better player in the NHL today, and we are so lucky to have him. What are you thinking about Grabo? I haven't seen really enough of him to develop a hard opinion, but I'm getting this feel for him, and what I'm seeing right now is he's got these moves, and I'm only hoping that he continues to use them and keeps his heart, because a lot of these guys, when they make the team, they lose heart a little bit. They get comfortable. And is that going to happen with somebody like a Tom Wilson? I don't know. What do you think about Grabo?
Grabo, the first game of the season, he had the hat trick, right? So after that, though, it seems like he's dropped off a bit, though. I don't know. It's still too early to tell. I like the fact that he can score. It's something that we didn't have before. I know, granted, Ribbs last season, he was hot early on. He cooled off towards the end of the season. Sometimes he lost his temper. Stupid penalties towards the end of the season cost us with Ribbs. Haven't seen too much of that from Grabo, which is good right now. I guess we're still waiting for him to get comfortable. It's still early on in the season, 6 games in, 3 goals. The jury's still out. We'll see. Tom Wilson, though, man, I don't know. I love the fact that when we drafted Tom Wilson, he was 6'4". So every time I thought of 6'4", I would always think of that. What's that 80s group from Australia?
I know the song. I know the song you're thinking of.
Yeah, he was 6'4", full of muscles, right? So I'm thinking this kid, So this kid, he's got a lot of upside to him. I kind of like what Oates is doing, keeping him up right now with the big club, so he doesn't pick up stupid and bad habits down that where they're thinking he's going to have in the minors. I like to see more of him. He did pretty good in the preseason, but that's preseason hockey, though. Do I think he has the ability? Yeah, I think he can be a player with the Bruins, Milan Lucic, right now. Lucic is a bruiser and can score goals, so I think Tom Wilson can do that.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I think some players have that ability. Ovechkin doesn't own that product. Looking at Tom Wilson, I think he wasn't sure that he had made the team yet. And there's another article. It's funny you mentioned him because there's another article in today's issue from, what am I looking at here, Bleacher Report, that talks about him. It says, is Tom Wilson's time almost up in Washington? Now, I haven't read that article, but I'd like to see on the back end in the office what's going on with Tom Wilson, because he's got some skill. He comes to fight. He wins his fights. So automatically when you can do that, you can fire your team up big time. Automatically when you do that, you bring a certain amount of entertainment to the crowd, so you have a value there. And that's worth looking at. I mean, is he going to get too comfortable when he gets hired on? I don't know. I don't think so. I think he'll keep that passion as a young player. What do you think about Tom Wilson, the player, not just the fighter?
Tom Wilson, the player, I think he brings a lot to this Capitals organization. He can score pretty big goals. Obviously, when they were looking at this kid when they drafted him, they liked what they saw, so they picked him right away. Another thing I noticed, too, when we did pick him up and had Philip Forsberg, there were some things there that the Capitals organization liked about Tom Wilson's game. Obviously, they kept him and traded Philip Forsberg to Nashville. He's got some speed, too. I'd like to see it showcased maybe later if we do decide to keep him on. He's got a few more games left, I think, and then if that option kicks in where he's a full-time professional hockey league player with 1 year. If not, I think after 10 games they can send him back down. I'm not sure how that works, but I like to see it. Maybe he will pick it up. He'll start gaining more and more confidence as the season progresses, and maybe we might see him up on the third line. Maybe sometimes on the second line. It depends. But I think he's young. How old is he? 18, 19 years old.
I think he just turned 19.
Yeah,
he's one of the youngest D-men in the league.
Yeah, a lot of upside with this kid. I'm really excited that he made the lineup. So I'm hoping, I'm got my fingers crossed with this kid. I hope everything goes well with him.
Yeah, me too. And they just have to nurture him. He kind of comes in strong. He's one of those guys where you go, whoa, he doesn't need any help, but he does because he's young and he needs to be nurtured and he needs to be, at the very least, have him magnify his qualities and make him even better. And they can do that. They get a great set of guys behind the bench right now. I think that's a winning combination. I saw Adam Oates get mad tonight for the first time in ever. Not something he's typically known for doing, and he got really pissed off with that extra minor doled out for interference, I think, on OV during that scramble. OV doing everything he could to keep from fighting and keeping cool there, and still gets nailed with something. And I was not happy about that. Neither was, Adam Oates said, that's enough, man, that's enough, because we tend, for some reason, you could flip a coin on officials. We get good calls half the time, bad calls half the time. With the Caps, it's more like 60-40, 60% bad calls, 40% good calls. I don't know what it is, but I think there's a little bit of hate coming even from the officials, possibly on a subconscious level, maybe because, one, they associate the Washington Capitals with Washington, D.C. Nobody likes D.C. as far as, the government. And people think I'm crazy for thinking that, but I think along psychology terms, too. And then, two, when you have the greatest player in the league, you almost have to be hated by a large number, because you don't go under the radar. You're always up there on the radar. You're always the king of the hill, at least for your individual. And like you said earlier, with Crosby, he's got a Stanley Cup, but that's a team effort. That doesn't measure individual skill. And the MVP award does. So when you put up an OV to a Crosby, I think OV always wins that, and I think he'll win it more. I was a little concerned that he's getting near the midway point of his career, potentially, depending on how long he plays. How long's he been in the league now? Seven seasons?
Well, I think they said last night Ovechkin, this is his ninth season
Ninth.
in the NHL. Yeah, 9 years. So.
Oh God, time is flying. Oh.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So he's probably past his halfway point, depending, and this is where players begin to possibly decline. They lose a step. I'm watching him lose some foot races that he didn't used to lose before. That concerns me. But he has all of the hitting that he's ever had. He's got all of the excitement that he's ever had. He's got all of the shooting accuracy that he's ever had in his very best year. Maybe he's lost a step on speed. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm reading that wrong and just comparing him to super fast players. Because remember, he wasn't picked up for his speed. His speed was always good. It wasn't always excellent. You know, he had burst speed, but it's not like he was a Chimera or even a Mojo regarding the speed category. But he brought everything else, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, I have to wonder, is he getting to that point where he's going to start going on the downward step with statistics? Who can you think of off the top of your head? I can't think of anybody right now who truly picked up their game midway point through their career. Can you think of anybody off the top of your head that did that?
Not really.
I'd have to Google it and look it up and read about it.
Yeah. But I'm thinking about some players that started out gangbusters early on in their career, you know, nothing but scoring. You got Gretzky. But then towards, you know, the end, the midway point, and toward the end of Gretzky's career, he refined his game. He became more of a playmaker, and he had more assists. He got more players involved in the game. Sergei Fedorov, another one, I think. Same thing. Started out gangbuster, scoring. His hair was on fire. And then towards the end of his career, he involved more players, got more players involved in the play, dishing out more assists. I think Ovechkin, towards the end of his career, will turn out to be a player like that, where the scoring will drop off, but I think he'll start involving more players and getting the players around him more involved into the play, and he'll start dishing out more assists later on.
Yeah. Well, he does have the ability, much like a Nick Backstrom. One thing OV doesn't get enough credit for, in my view, is passing. He's so accurate with his passing. He doesn't get enough credit for that, I don't think. But as he gets older, like, you might be right. I think he may dedicate himself more to a setup guy, and will that work? Of course it will, because one of OV's strengths is getting open, getting away from people. Right now he tends to get double teamed. You know, he ran that cross the goalie curl and drag move so many times he became quite predictable. So he does need to kind of expand his trick bag so that he's not so predictable there, because people were all over that after his second season. They're like, oh, he's going to curl and drag. He's going across the goalie, he's going to curl and drag. We're going to be there. And they'd poke check him and always stop him then. So he's got to expand his trick bag, but he's good at controlling pace. You were talking about Ribs earlier. Ribs could change the pace of a game at the drop of a dime. He could slow it down. Let's set up. Or he could speed it up, make a break. You know, he was so good at that. And I hope that Grabo is going to come in now that he has room. Since Ribs is gone, he's got that kind of room in front of him to go ahead and be a pacemaker, you know, because those guys are very underrated. It's important that, you know, Nicky can do it. They can change the pace of a game. They can slow it down when it needs to be slowed down, and they can speed it up when it needs to be sped up. You know, they might do it through clues on outlet passes. They might do it through clues on how long they hold the puck in the O-zone, or how fast they pass it when they get it. They might say, hey, you know, they're speaking when they do that. They're saying, hey, let's pick up the pace, or hey, let's slow it down. Let's set up. We're not setting up enough. We're doing these coast-to-coast breaks. We're not getting anything. Let's set up our offense and work the cycle. You know, how about our cycle? Do you like the way that's working here lately, Chris?
It looked better tonight. Looked better tonight than it did the other night against Colorado. I know that was one of the things they touched upon the other day. They were talking about how bad the cycle looked early in the season, and now it looked good tonight. Hopefully, it will carry on Wednesday against another reeling team, the Rangers.
Yeah,
I'm hoping this carries on, and. Yeah, for the Rangers series, I mean the Rangers game. Excuse me, the Rangers game. I think that's going to be a big game for us if we can get this momentum going. Yeah, I think it's gonna work out well for us. If the cycle looks good tonight, I think it's going to be good for the Rangers game. It's a momentum thing. It does a lot for their self-esteem out there too. As well, it was looking good, even though it's the Edmonton Oilers. Yeah, but things, they worked on in practice the other day. Everything looked like he came to play tonight. I was impressed with it.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. And I on the contrary, I wasn't impressed with the cycle earlier. The cycle earlier in the season tended to either turn the puck over or they didn't even start it. It was just they're looking for the 1-2 pass and the shot. And
maybe they were just too impatient, with it. And then now they're starting to realize that patience is important in the game.
That's right. It is important, and it's something you work on. We were talking earlier about, or they were talking, the announcers were talking about the tic-tac-toe on the Backstrom pass when he went to Brower. That was a beautiful setup, and that's something they practice constantly. So when you set up your offense, you immediately create a benefit unless you're playing a slow team, in which case your breaks are going to perform better. But when you set up your offense the way you've practiced day in and day out, hour after hour, you got a couple things going for you. One is you're incorporating all that practice, all that experience into the game now. And then the second is it's mesmerizing. It can put a defense to sleep, a nice cycle game, where even a goalie is going, oh, there it goes, here it comes, So I think that's the good of a cycle and why we had to work on ours. But we haven't been quite as accurate as I'd like to see on our passing once we get the puck off the boards. There has been a lot more tossing it to the goal mouth, though, which I'm glad to see. But somebody's got to be there, like you said earlier. We got to get somebody. Nicky was there tonight. I thought was crazy. No, not his style. So, but hell, maybe that's what we've been missing.
First game of the season against the Blackhawks, Grabo was in there. He was that big man in front of the net that we needed. That was pretty impressive. So hopefully, if things go well, things go right for this team, I think we'll start seeing more and more of that stuff. And I agree with you on the cycle. When the cycling is going well, I think it does play an important. I think it plays mind games on the goalies right there. They see that over and over and over again. And another thing I pick up too, early on in the game, if the passing is crisp. Along with the cycling, I think they have a good chance of winning that game. So that's the two things I look at right there at the start of a hockey game. But yeah, definitely tonight the cycle was looking good for them. And like I said, hopefully it will carry on to the game against the Rangers Wednesday night.
Yeah, I hope so. Now, Chris, I don't know how long you can stay on tonight. I know you got to get up early in the morning and everything. I hope you'll come on at every game or every other game, whatever you want to do. How long can you stay on tonight, just so we can give people a heads up?
I got another five minutes tonight.
Okay, so we're just going to let you talk then. I'm going to let you take the mic, and maybe we can talk a little bit about what have the Capitals done wrong in playoffs of years past, and what is it that they could change with their current lineup to finally get us on a serious march to get deep into the playoffs and maybe even get a cup. What do you think about that?
Role players. I think role players playing a huge or an important part in the game. I'm watching the Cardinals game right now. I'm a huge baseball fan. I played ball all throughout high school. Role players are very, very important. A couple years ago, when the Phillies were making a run in the World Series, they had a lot of role players for them as well. The Cardinals a couple years ago, when they beat the Rangers in the World Series, a lot of role players. And then going back to the NHL, when the Kings, they had some role players for them too. I don't see too many of the role players on the Capitals, and that's what and that bothers me. It seems like sometimes GM Jim will go after some high-profile players, but what's wrong with the players we've had on the bench? What's wrong with some of the players we've had in the locker room that the Capitals had or they've let go? The role players, I think, play a huge role in these championship runs for these teams. I don't know if it's not passion, but I think they lack confidence too as well. Sometimes when they're down 3-1, confidence goes out the door. Or if they're up 3-1, they seem to let off on the gas pedal. And 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 that bothers me. If you're up 3-1, go after the jugular. Put that team away. Give your team some rest. Give your guys some rest. Rest up for the next playoff series, because sometimes I think if you're going to take every series 7 games, it's going to take a toll. But if you can win these playoff series 4-1, 4-2, get a couple days break, a couple days off in between, give them a break, because the playoffs are tough, playoffs are very tough. It's tough on it's very stressful for these guys, but
yeah,
I think sometimes they do lack the confidence if they're behind 3-1. Last year, Lundqvist was looking pretty good last year. I can't, there's nothing really I can say about that. He was hot. We lost. I was at that game where we lost 5-0. Nothing to do. They really couldn't do anything. They couldn't muster anything on the defense or on Lundqvist there. So that's why I see.
Yeah, his play reminded me of when we got halaked the year before by Montreal. I think he played for Montreal, didn't he? Halak.
Yeah, Halak was that monster we ran into. We couldn't do anything.
Yeah. The guy was a steel wall, and it's funny that you made a mistake earlier and said the series, because we're always used to going into a series with the Rangers. It's kind of become tradition here lately. But that was interesting. And we couldn't do anything against Lundqvist. He was just, he was wearing the Hall of Famer cap, kind of playing that way. Like, see why they call me, so good? This is why. And play in that role. A lot of goalies will stumble in certain parts of the season, either in the right in the preseason or right in the opening or at the end. And their mind gets messed up. They like continuity. And psychologically, people don't understand how important it is for a goalie to be stable in his thinking. I think Holtby is always going to be a slow starter, not only for a game, but for a season. And maybe he's on now. Maybe he's found his groove. I don't know. But
goalies are like pitchers in baseball. They're head cases. You gotta, especially the day of the game, you leave them alone, let them do what they have to do, and then the next day you can go ahead and talk to them and bug them a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. So for everybody that's listening right now, you're listening to Caps on Tap. Mr. Chris Levesque and Kevin Kierstead bringing the post-game live to you. But Chris is getting ready to take off. He's got a real life to tend to. And I'm going to keep talking about the Capitals. But what I'm going to do first is put on a couple songs for you, because the old man needs a break. So I'm going to do that. Chris, I will talk to you again after the Rangers game if you're up for it. Would you call in and co-host on that game?
Sounds like a plan, brother.
Okay. Let's say thanks again to Chris Levesque coming in to co-host. He's got his hockey knowledge cap on. I like that. And he's got spirit. And it's kind of important to have spirit in the team you're supporting. So thanks again, Chris. Appreciate the call, man. He's going to be our co-host, guys, for a regularity kind of a deal. We need somebody who's going to call in and bat some ideas around for me, make sure that I don't have tunnel vision on something, make sure that I'm not being too too broad-minded or narrow-minded on a given subject. What if he sees things that I don't see, I may see things that he don't see, and we also need your input. So we need you to be getting in on it. Call 910-665-9464 to get in on the show. You can also go to the chat. If you're listening to this, you may already be on the site. It's www.spreaker.com/user/truthontap. When you go there, you're going to see a live episode called Caps on Tap, something, something, something. And click on that to play it, and you'll see that you can get in on the chat right there to the right. It says explicit, and there's a little heart icon, and then bam, you can get in on the chat. Post-game chat right here, and I will read your comments on the air. Post-game chat right here. Just letting you know there. And I'm going to throw in a couple of songs, and this will give you some time to lay back and gather your thoughts, and then you can call in and be on the show, or you can get into the chat and be on it that way. Let me remind you first what you're listening
to Truth on Tap with host Kevin Kierstead.
Most definitely, and I'm going to play a couple of Bad Ace songs for you here. Bad Ace, a local group out of Southeast Virginia where I live, and I like to promote my local groups and local artists, and you can find them on badace.com, just like it sounds, BADACE, and you can find them on Facebook. Just Google them. You'll get a lot of results for Bad Ace. They're an excellent group. Been playing for a long time around here. I have a long history, and they bring a lot of talent to your radio speakers, and here they go.
When I was young and foolish, I thought the world belonged to me. Fast cars and easy women were all that I could see. Drinking booze and smoking till I couldn't get no higher. Every night just looking for someone to light my fire. When I got a little older and my daddy told me, son, if you keep on doing what you're doing, you're gonna wind up on the run. Well, you got to settle down, boy. Gotta learn how to behave, or you're gonna drive your mama straight to another grave. And babe, I'll never leave you. You know my love is true. You see, I can't make it, baby, without you. Oh, no, without you.
Yeah, there it is. Bad Ace. Pure quality coming out your speakers because they're that damn good. I looked around the universe and I was like, there's got to be a band out there that's a little bit better than them, isn't there? Somewhere? Isn't there? And no, I couldn't find one. I haven't looked at the whole universe, but just parts of it. And so, yeah, they've got that area tacked down nice and tight. We're still talking about the Washington Capitals. They just pulled off a win tonight against the Edmonton Oilers. 4-2 was the final. And it's worth talking about because what we saw tonight may have been a change in gearing. It may have been a shift. And if it's true, you think, well, that's great if you're a Caps fan. But let me tell you what it illustrates. Most learning is comparative, isn't it? What did we shift from? Well, I think we shifted from a slow start. And I'm tired of slow starts. Aren't you? Remember last year? Yeah. We don't want to get in that habit because it's not always possible to recover from that. Another thing, see, this is where you get into macrocosm and microcosm. Going to the games, we tend to have slow starts. Holtby, just like the basic spirit of the Caps, he gets a slow season start and a slow game start before he warms up. We have to kill that. We have to kill the requirement of a warm-up. Every player needs to come out of the gate swinging like mad and keep that pace. We have to learn also when we're leading by a goal or two, we tend to sit down, go have a seat on the bench, and let them score a goal or two. Capitals seem to hate leading a game. Now, tonight was an exception to the rule, but I've seen it so many times in the past 5 years, it's ridiculous, you know. We're winning by, 3-1. We go into the third, bam, next thing you know, it's 3-3. And maybe we go to overtime and maybe we win. But why did we let them back? Because we weren't trying. Here's what Adam Oates needs to do, and I know he knows it, but I don't know if he's teaching it. What he needs to do is teach the Capitals how to think, and he needs to teach them that if you're winning by a goal or two, you must continue to play as if you were losing by a goal or two. The best defense, a good offense. Score more goals. Don't go into any prevent defense. It doesn't work. How many times do we have to prove that? That kind of psychology may be hard to get around, especially after it sets in and becomes habit, but it's going to have to be done. It just has to happen. We have to play our games while leading by a goal or two as if we are so stingy we're not giving any shots up, much less goals. It's got to happen. And, and once we do that, you're going to see our win record go way up, but you're also going to see the scores go way up. We're going to start annihilating opponents. That comes from a set of rules and values in your mind that says just because we're leading doesn't mean we're going to sit back on our lead and let them catch up with us. No. In fact, we played catch up earlier, didn't we? And that's traditional for the Caps for the past 5 years or so. Before that, it was more of a moderate tone. But for the past 5 years or so with the Caps, I've seen this, I guess I've seen this need to come from behind. What is that? The Caps tend to get motivated and everything improves about their play when they get behind. When they're ahead, the opposite happens. There is this sluggishness that takes over them. There is this fault on their skills that comes in, bad passing, going off sides too much, icing the puck constantly. What's going on? Oh, we're in the lead. That makes sense. See, I shouldn't be thinking like that. I shouldn't be thinking like that. But once you see enough games where you see that happen, you got to think like that. So I hope I'm wrong. And maybe Oates is preaching it. He's got to teach these guys to play when you're in the lead as if you were losing. That's got to be a mindset. I'm looking at the NHL Power Rankings. This coming off, there's several different places that do their own power rankings. And you may not believe it, but the Bleacher Report did its own power rankings. And everything I'm reading in the comments basically says that they're out of their fucking minds. Yeah, something like that. And, what they're doing is, for example, they rated Colorado 16th, and Colorado is like 5-0. Yeah, they got my boy on there. You know who's in goal. Don't act like you don't know. I'm not even going to tell you. You know. They got him on there doing his thing. And by the way, I'm the one that came up with the term Bruce Lee between the pipes. Kevin Weeks stole that on the NHL Network. That was mine. I didn't copyright it though, so I can't sue. Varley's in there, making them look really good. But it's not just him. They have a fast team. They have a very quick team. And when you have a quick team and even decent skill, you're good to go. You're good to go as long as you got somebody stable in net. And Varley, a good goaltender in the NHL, stops about 91% of the shots he faces. Varley's hitting about 98% stop rate. Good on you, Varley. And I called it when I saw him and Matthew Perreault when I was at a pregame game. I think it was a pregame. It might have been regular season, but I was at the game, and I saw Varley come out and play his game, and I saw Matthew Perreault on the same night. I said to my friend that was with me there, Dave, I said, Dave, those two are going to be in the Hall of Fame. I already see it. And I don't know if he agreed with me. I think he plays his own league of hockey, actually plays goalie, and he's very good at it. And he was talking about, so I trust his sense on goalies and how good they are. And he didn't think, Varley was all that. In fact, he was quite a fan of Theo. I was not a fan of Theo. I think Theo folded after his personal tragedy. He just couldn't recover. I didn't hate him. I mean, the guy had a very hard thing happen in his life. But you cannot leave him in net as a courtesy. You got to put in net the guy that's going to win consistently. So, yeah, that happened. Varley, I knew it. I knew this was coming. Most of the time when I make a prediction, you can take that shit to the bank. Okay, Matthew Perreault, is he big enough? We've traded him away now, a sad thing. He had so much energy. He's got crazy moves. And that's really all I need to see. You got energy and you got moves. The rest can be taught. The rest can certainly be taught. However, I was misled on Mojo. Now, I never said Mojo would be in the Hall of Fame, but I was misled because I was telling people this is the piece that was missing from our puzzle. This speed on this line will free up OV. It's going to really make things happen. He's not using his speed, folks. I saw him use it once last game, once this game. For the last half of last season, he didn't use his speed. Why would somebody come on the team like a Mojo and not use the excellent speed that he has, while someone like Jason Chimera always uses his speed? Always. And he's grinding, Jason Chimera, that's why he's one of my core backbone players on the Capitals. And somebody like Fair worries me because he plays so good, and he's been there for a while. That's why he's on my backbone players list. He's this assassin in the ozone. The way he operates, it's always in the shadows, and then bam, there goes the puck, and the lamp is lit. And you're going, excuse me, I need to see the replay. Yeah, if the Caps score and you need to see the replay, chances are that was Fair that scored that goal, because that's how sneaky he can be. And you put him at 10 feet in front of the goalie, he's going to score. He can pick he can pick his spot. It doesn't matter which hole you want to go in. He'll do the 7-5 and go 2-hole. He doesn't care. He'll do math during his shot. You can't stop him when he's right there if he's left unguarded. So I think he's an excellent player, part of the core of this team from which all other parts branch off. In other words, the backbone players are required for the rest of the team to function well. And as I was talking about earlier with Chris, I will remove players from my backbone squad, and I will add players, but it's not easy. It's not easy to get in, and it's not easy to get kicked out. It takes time. So if Holtby starts letting in 4 goals a game, and he does that for 6 months straight, well, he'll be kicked out then. But why? That's not going to happen because we wouldn't leave him in if he was doing that. But it takes a while to get kicked out, so you can sag for a month or two. It's okay. You're still going to stay in my backbone squad. Maybe everybody that's an NHL fan, maybe everybody that's a sports fan should have a backbone squad. Decide in your mind who you love, what team, what sport. And unless it's like an individual performance type thing, speed skating, then you know who the backbone players are. If it's a smaller team like a basketball team, you can pick 2 or 3 that make things happen all the time. And that without them, maybe they're not even always in lights, but they're making stuff happen. All right? That's my backbone players for the Capitals right now. It is Alexander Ovechkin, And for those of you that don't know, in Russian, it's pronounced Alexander Ovechkin. Yeah, you can look that up. So then you have your Nicholas Backstrom. I love a Swedish hockey player. Always have puck control, always have skating moves, always have stick handling, always have pace control. And I say that as I go and say, except Mojo when he's not on. But I'm coming back to my core squad here. Jason Chimera, because his work ethic is unmatched except for by people like Brooks Light, who has that work ethic, will get in there and grind. But Jason Chimera, who has speed and uses speed, that's something necessary. He makes plays happen using that speed and using his hockey sense. His entire line with Wardo and Fair there, they make things happen. And Ward, if he'll just calm down for a second and get his handling right, he'll end up on my backbone squad. And I'll have 3 players from the damn third line on my backbone squad. And you're going to go, how the hell do you do that while leaving Mojo out or Mike Green out? Well, I'm measuring on performance and I'm measuring on importance to the team. So the numbers may not show it, but importance to the team is a perception. And this is my perception, that without these players, bad things happen. And you can prove that by if one of them goes on IR, God forbid, or one of them gets traded, watch the immediate thing after. You can prove that, whether or not they deserve to be on your backbone squad. You're listening to Caps on Tap right now. Your host, Kevin Kierstead. We're building up our episode library. Caps on Tap don't tend to use notes or outlines, and definitely don't use scripts here. We just go. 4-2 was the final tonight out of the phone booth, that is the Verizon Center. Your game was called by Mr. Wes Johnson, the PA. He's excellent at what he does. He's also the person you heard on my voiceover. For those that know, I'll let you get a little listen on. Here he goes. Who do you think this is again?
To Truth on Tap with host Kevin Kierstead.
Yeah. The thing that Wes does, and here I go, I promised myself something at the beginning of broadcasting. I said that anytime I mention Wes Johnson, if it's whether it's in the show Truth on Tap, which has nothing to do with hockey usually, or Caps on Tap, which is all about the Capitals, anytime I mention Wes Johnson, I have to think of a new superhero or legend to compare him to. And I have stuck to that so far. So tonight, before the end of this broadcast, I have to come up with somebody who I can compare Wes Johnson to based on what he does and how he does it. And it's going to have to be somebody different than all the ones before. So I think I can pull that off. I think I can do it. Sometimes when my neurons are firing, I hit it out of the park. But for right now, we're still talking about the Capitals. Going down to some of the sub-issues here that I know you're thinking about, but we haven't talked about. How about Mike Green? What's going on with Mike Green? Any idea? I couldn't tell you. Everybody talks about how great he is, and you look at the numbers, it's not really there. Game over, Green, he's not really there. Lately, been fumbling the puck here and again. He doesn't hit people. Do you see a lot of hits from Mike Green? I don't. He's not skating very fast. He shoots a lot for a D guy. He does shoot a lot, and he's got good aim. I'll give him that. But that's all I'm getting out of him right now. What am I missing about Mike Green? Do you think Mike Green should be in the core players of the Washington Capitals? I don't. Why don't you tell me why you think that? Let me know. You can do it on the Facebook page, facebook.com/truthontapshow. Go there, and you can talk about the Capitals there. Joel Ward has not necessarily been with us long enough to really totally earn my respect. So there's a part of me that's still feeling him out. There's a part of me that wants to include him on that core squad, but I can't yet because he's so busy all the time that it looks to me like he's in his own personal tornado. I mean, he's grinding, he's throwing elbows around, he's got the puck, he's skating, he's kicking. And I think sometimes I've seen him do that without any players around. Just the assumption that he was about to get checked up against the boards. Yeah, there he goes, he's scrapping, and nobody's there. And I'm going, Wardo, take a look around, buddy. You got people open. You're working hard. You're working harder than anybody else. You are a grinder. You never slack that I can see. But if you look around, you can start making plays happen, and he'll score a goal here or there. But he needs to, I don't want to say calm down because we need his excitement, but he needs to have a little bit more ice awareness. If he can get his ice awareness down and keep that consistent, he's going to make my backbone squad, definitely. He's got the features that you need to make it, but he needs a little consistency in being a playmaker. We said a dirty word earlier on the show talking about Cry's boy. I don't think he'll ever compare to an Ovechkin. The only thing I think Cindy has that OV doesn't have is the spinorama. So what I see is Cindy Cry's boy out there on his figure skates doing his spinorama, and OV winning in every category. Okay, who do you see the league handing MVP to every year? There's one name that keeps popping up, huh? Yeah, you don't need me to say it. Who do you think the league says is the best player every year? It tends to follow one guy. There's one guy in the league now that keeps winning it, and he's won it more than any other active player. How about that? And then there's one guy who's not winning it so often. Yeah. And yet everybody says it's so great. If you ever want to look at stats, go ahead and include hits in your comparison. It's very important. When you're measuring a hockey player, you measure all of his characteristics that apply to the game, and especially those that matter. If you noticed tonight, there were a couple of times when Mojo and even Grabo were afraid to touch the puck. You know why that was? They were afraid of the hit. Do you know why that was? That was because they had been hit. When you hit a player and you hit him hard, he gets nervous about touching the puck again, even if it comes from a subconscious level. They don't want to pay the price. They don't want to pay the price. So if you get hit hard, if you're on the offense and you got a great forecheck working and you're hitting those guys on D, they're going to start getting afraid to touch the puck. They're going to want to get rid of it as soon as they get it, so they don't take a hit. It becomes a hot potato for them. And that's going to cause turnovers and errors. That's why you have to have a hitting game. What I don't like seeing is some games will go into the second period, have hardly any hits. Then the other team hits us once or twice, and we start retaliating. Well, that's great. Stand up for your team. But how about you start the hits in the first minute of play and keep them consistent? The hits are an effective part of the game. It's not just bullying here. We're not talking about anybody getting hurt. We're talking about getting it in the backs of the minds of the other team that if they touch the puck or get near it, they're going to take a wallop. Because if you do that, you immediately tilt the ice in your favor. And I think that's an important part of the game. It gets overlooked pretty often. OV brings the hits. He has not forgotten how important it is. He knows. This is a guy who won't drop the gloves very often, maybe once every couple years, but yet he'll bring the body every single game. A few hundred hits a year and bring in hard hits. Not those little taps, not those little crunches that look like boarding half the time when some of the other stars try to do them. But the hits, I mean, squared up shoulders, bam, down goes the opponent. Down goes the opponent. OV always still skating. Once in a while they'll catch him. It's not very often. I'd say for every time they catch an Ovechkin and get a good head on him, he's already laid down 20 guys on the ice. So he'll take those numbers. He doesn't mind those numbers, and I don't mind them. When you have the greatest player in the league on your team, you're going to get some hate. Now, I'm still not very good at accepting hate. You know, I wasn't used to this pre-Ovechkin. I wasn't used to being hated so much. So this is kind of new to me. When OV got on the team, everybody started hating that wasn't an immediate Ovechkin fan. And that bothered me, you know, because I'm like, hey, when did we become the enemy? And then I started putting pieces of the puzzle together and figuring it out. You got to hate the king of the hill. If you're not an immediate Caps fan or an immediate Ovechkin fan, you're going to hate the Caps. NBC hates us. I think the officials hate us a little bit. All the other teams hate us. Everybody wants to be Ovechkin, and they can't be. It's got to piss you off, you know. Too bad for them. You know, let the man be a superstar. We're getting into that, I don't know. You know, we're getting into a funny age here where people are just spoiled. There used to be a time in this league when if a player took a hit and it was a good hit, he didn't retaliate. He just said, fuck, he got me. You know, that was it. Now, nobody can take a hit without retaliating. That's very immature to me. And I think it doesn't speak well of your team or the league, really. Now, if it's a dirty hit, yeah, and it doesn't get caught by the officials, yeah, you're going to want to retaliate for that. I understand that. But if it's a good, clean hit and you had your head down, too bad for you. Don't go chasing after a guy because he got a good, clean hit on you. Be a man. Realize you made the mistake and play ball, you know. Got to go after him every time. That's being a sore loser, is what that is. There's no class in it. There's no honor in not being able to take a hit. And that goes for any sport. Football, any sport where there's hitting like that. But there's no hitting in any other sport like there is in hockey. The fastest moving hits you'll see are in the NHL. And Ovechkin is among the fastest that will throw them as far as the speed of the collision when he hits you. And I used to do some Photoshop projects. I still do occasionally. And I made one with Ovechkin's face carved into a tree. And I said that because I had heard people say that hitting him is like hitting a tree. And one side doesn't give and the other side crumples. And so I carved his face into a tree in a Photoshop project, and I called him, you know, whatever, Oak Vetchkin or Tree Vetchkin, whatever's most comfortable for you. I'm going to have to share that on the Truth on Tap page. It's on my Facebook profile. But it's a good pick. Everybody loved that pick, man. They're like, why don't you sell this? And I give my cap stuff away. A lot of people are using my logo right now that you see for this show. Yeah, that logo with the chromed out Weagle. I made that, and people loved it. You know, they love the light in the background, the metallic look. Now, I did that with some help of some plugins. I don't want to act like I came up with everything through some sort of original labor, but I did. I took some time with it, made it look good. I've even got a couple of 3D projects that have the Capitals namesake in it, and they look good. Some of the favorite have been the one that says Capitals with a hockey stick in there. It looks three-dimensional. Has all the letters are made of mirror-like material, and a couple of them are being knocked down by the hockey stick. It looks really cool. Get in touch with me if you want to take a look at those. You might want to use one as your profile picture, Caps fans. Looking down the list here, I'm going to go through the box score real quick, and we're going to get ready to call it a show. Don't want to run anything into the ground. You had Boyd Gordon, an ex-Capital. He got his score in. Brooks Lake tied it up. Then Chimera goes into the box for boarding, which it was technically boarding, but it was kind of a weak one. He barely pushed the guy, but it was enough. It was enough, and it is dangerous. So don't do that, Jason. But fuck, if you're gonna do it, you might as well shove him. You know, the little nudge wasn't much. Power play, Joel Ward scored on that to make it 2-1. And then that was assist by OV and Backy. And then OV scores, assisted by Mojo and Nikki. And then power play, Troy Brower, assist by Grabo and Backy. And that made it 4-1. Then there were all kinds of penalties for the, roughing, tripping, high sticking, holding. And this was all before the third. Then when we get into the third, let's see. No, that was at 18-18. They've got their stuff limit out of order here. But anyway, Acton scored and made it 4-2. And then there were all kinds of penalties for the scrum that they got in. Looking at the stats, just the stats for the game. Let's look at this. Goals scored 4-2. We know. Shots on goal. Capitals 20. Oilers 30. So quantity over quality or quality over quantity? What would you say? I think we need more shots than that. I think we need more shots on goal, but obviously quality matters. Getting them in the back of the net is kind of a big deal. Shooting percentage, 20% for us, 6.7% for them. Power play opportunities, 6 on each side. What? Okay. Anyway, power play goals, 2 by the Caps. The league's best power play is back. Power play percentage conversion, 66.7%, unheard of. That's just tonight's game. We've got probably, 30-35% starting out this season, which is amazing. You're scoring 1 out of 3 power plays, you're doing well. Penalty killing percentage, 33.3 for the Oilers, 100% for the Caps. Penalty shots, none. Face-offs, 1. 26 for the Oilers, 28 for the Caps. Let's not forget that Fair is a good face-off man. You remember David Steckel? Yeah, he was the face-off king. I wish we hadn't got rid of him. He's the one that put Crosby out for quite a while by bumping into him, hitting him in the chin. And it was kind of a wacky hit. You know, it was accidental. They were both looking at the puck, and Steckel wasn't even looking toward Crosby. He was looking toward the left, and Crosby was over on his right. But his shoulder caught him right on the chin and spun his head around a little. It did look kind of ugly. So I'm not saying Crosby's a puss necessarily for that, but he is a puss. Crosby voted league's worst whiner by the NHLPA. Yep, Google it. NHLPA Players Association, saying Sidney Crosby complains more than anybody else in the league. That's what they say. How do you argue that? These are the players. It's not the coaches. It's not the fans saying this. It's the goddamn guys on the ice. They know what's going on. They see it. Yeah, I'm going to trust their vote. I sure am. Player stats, you know, I'm going to... Next time we have a Caps on Tap show, we're going to go over the season long, that being, 6 or 7 games, player stats for each player on the Caps team that has registered, and talk about how that's better than or worse than expected. Holtby, let's see, saves 30, so shots 30, saves 28, goals allowed 2. So his save percentage for the night was .933. That works. Give me anything .910 and above, and I'm good with that. All you can ask from a goalie is to stop 9 out of 10 shots. You know, that's really all you can ask. Everything else you've got to do. So he did well. He beat the mark there. What an excellent game it was. And I guess the question I want to leave you with is, are we looking at a shifting of gears? Are we watching the Washington Capitals say, oh, this is our groove. This is the way we're supposed to play. Okay, got it. Few mistakes tonight. Very few mistakes. Just good play. I really don't like our style of kind of, I don't know, passing to an area rather than a player. I think we need to start doing a little bit more tape-to-tape passing. I think we create opportunities when we do that. I don't even like the dump and chase. It's like flipping a coin, but, you know, it's our offense, so I'm not going to mess with it. A lot of teams use it. I'd rather pass it or skate it into the zone, but, you know, what are you going to do? Without being offsides, by the way, which we tend to be a lot. That's life, and that's the way it's going to go. So we're going to end this show. Another local artist whose name is... Now, last time I tried to play one of his songs, it didn't work. Yeah, it's not going to work this time either. His songs have disappeared somehow. So we're going to play something else in place of it until I figure out what's going on with it. We've got a few here. I think I want to use... This one's called Slanted Voices. These are songs that I occasionally download from CC Mixter. I think that's what it's called. But they are copyright-free songs, you know, usually unknown artists. I like to surprise people and say, hey, what do you think of this, you know? So I'll throw on that random Flavor of the Week song, and then I'll play a local artist. So this one is going to be Slanted Voices by Morgan TJ, whoever that is. I wish they would give me real names. It's the only thing I don't like about that. And but then we're going to close out with Bad Ace in Your Life. Wow. That's what we're going to do. Let me remind you of what you've been listening
to Truth on Tap with host Kevin Kirsten.
And I want to thank you for tuning in tonight for Caps on Tap. Let me remind you, you can keep this conversation going. Go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/truthontapshow. These episodes do not go to iHeartRadio yet. Caps on Tap has not been accepted to iHeartRadio. So if you want to get the old episodes, you still have to go to Spreaker.com. All right? And you can find those old episodes on Spreaker.com/user/truthontap. Now, if you get in there, instead of searching for each one that's a Capitals episode, go ahead and click on shows. And you'll see that I do a few radio shows, and one of them is Caps on Tap. Click that, and you'll get nothing but Capitals episodes. All right, and you could download those, take them with you as a podcast, whatever, and enjoy them. I want to thank you for listening tonight. This has been your host of Caps on Tap, Kevin Kierstead. We are over and out.
to Truth on Tap with host Kevin Kierstead.
Never had a feeling this quick as this before. Although I've loved plenty, none was loved anymore. I've got you dancing in my mind every minute of every day. But I just feel too early to find the words to say. But I want you now always in my arms. But I need to protect you from any harm. Oh, I don't want to scare you away. I don't want to suffocate you, baby. I give you your space. You say you want attention, mama, I got plenty to pay. But I just feel too early to find the words to say. But I want you now always in my arms. But I this before. Although I've loved plenty, none wasn't loved anymore. You say you want attention, mama, I got plenty to pay. But I just feel so well, baby, if I knew what to say. But I want